feeling Monday at all, so I said, fuck it. I'm going to be a guest.
All right. Good evening. It is Wednesday night. It is time to talk about West Ham. It's American Hammers TV, part of the American Hammers Network. Look at all these people on the screen. So anybody who's watched this show, the Wednesday night show for the last couple of weeks has noticed that it's gone a little bit off the rails. So everybody hide your weed because Mom is here tonight. Tim is going to come on and make sure that we we stay disciplined.
No curry talk.
No, I don't talk about curry, except that one story I had about the curry in London that I told last week. No curry talk. I don't know. Wayne's not here, so we won't talk about genocide. That's always.
Oh,
good.
Jesus.
Well, you probably didn't even see that episode, Tim, but don't go back and watch it if you didn't. No, just leave it.
No, I see that one.
Yeah, leave that one. So we're gonna try to talk about West Ham as much as we can. Because Tim is going to be here overseeing. Sam,
I'm getting just a guest tonight, man.
No, I'm getting punished. This is what it is. I haven't done a good enough job.
No.
Listen, you should have heard him before we started. He was cussing me out. No. He wasn't. No. He was making fun of Ray for being bald. That's all.
Jesus Christ! Listen. You've done such a great job that I felt, I would be a guest and let you do the hosting.
You wanted to support? Oh, I appreciate that. That's cool.
Yeah,
I get it.
And Ray's done such a great job hosting as well that I felt, we might as well bring him in here. And same thing with John. John, I miss John's Friday Night Legs so much. Let's get him here. And Bradley hasn't been around a little while, so I think this is a great group tonight. Great group.
I haven't seen Bradley in ages.
Huh?
Do what?
I'm the only non-host here.
Well, we can change that.
You can be a host.
We're kind of segueing you into being a host.
Anybody can be a host. Bradley has been having etouffee and beignet, and he's been in New Orleans. Genuinely one of my favorite cities. In fact, I was supposed to go to Louisiana this summer for my wife's family reunion, but there were two problems. One, it's not New Orleans, it's Shreveport. And two, we're not going to go because of the pandemic.
Yeah, because of Shreveport.
Dude, Shreveport is horrible. It's horrible. It's one of the worst places I've ever seen. Yeah. And it's like 8 hours from New Orleans. It's not like you drop into New Orleans from Shreveport. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. Anyway.
Chat room's hopping, man.
Do what?
We got a lot of people in the chat room right now.
The chat room is hopping. I see my buddy Gabe is here. It's always good to see Gabe. I see Tebow. I see Wally.
Gary.
Robbie. Friggin' Charlie Walsh was here before the show even started. I see Foe. I see oh God, I don't even know who some of these people are. I see Neil. Yeah, it's good. So let me go through our thing we always go through to start. There's Gary. Look at that.
Yeah, Gary and Wally. All right. Thanks for
Gary woke up from some sort of drunken stupor to join us. So that's
right.
It's always nice.
So Gary had a massive shout on the hammer shots. He got one of those, the hangman clue, like 20 minutes before anybody else was anywhere close to it. It was ridiculous.
I think it was just a J and a Y. And maybe one of the, he nailed that, man. Jimmy Bullard.
I have never seen the show because I'm always putting my sons to bed when the show's on. And I go
be a guest.
I go right from their room into here, so which is why I'm always signing on in here like 3 minutes before the show starts.
This is a great question, actually. So, which one of you four are going to be on next week?
I could.
Okay,
I mean, if we schedule it in advance, I could do it.
8 o'clock. It's the 8
no.
o'clock
I could
show.
do it if I just say.
I'll take your 9 o'clock show, and you can do that.
Yeah. I could do it if I say to my wife, I'm going to do this at 8 instead of 9, and
love to see you on there,
man.
We
can do it. Yeah, we can do it.
Love to see Ray Force go against you.
I don't think I'd be very good at it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I better watch it before I commit to this. That's probably a better idea.
Fun. It's awesome. I love having 2 awesome game shows on the channel, man. I love it.
It looks great, honestly. Adam's doing an amazing job with it. I really want to get on too, even though I will embarrass myself because if it didn't happen yesterday, I immediately forget.
I embarrass myself every week anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Embarrass myself for here. So wait, okay. So before we get started, let's do our stuff. All right. You guys, please check out AmericanHammers.net. Check out our store. All kinds of fantastic stuff. I was thinking I need to order some stuff. I've been we're gonna do it soon. Anyway, there's the little Minecraft T-shirts that the boys would love. Look at that. You can mask up. Yeah. You can
Ooh,
be,
this is unseen stuff yet. We haven't launched it yet, but yes, they're being made right now. All the
They're being
different
made right now.
masks with the logos on it.
You can
Alex
be
is hard at work.
responsible in your social distancing, and you can put on a mask. I like to wear one just for the aesthetic purpose of it. I think I look better with it. So anyway, but yeah, so check out AmericanHammers.net. Everything you could ever want is out there. It's genuinely amazing. If you want to be on the show or host a show or be involved with the network or anything, just let us know. Go to our Twitter, go to our Facebook, go to our website, go to Instagram. I don't know. We're on every conceivable social media. We're on Friendster. We're on MySpace. We're on. I don't know. Yeah, we're on like CompuServe.
Netscape Navigator.
Yeah, Netscape. Yeah, I'll go to your Netscape and find us. And we're out there somewhere. We're on Prodigy. We're on Prodigy. I have a Prodigy account.
Prodigy,
I'm sure. Yeah, Prodigy. So yeah, check us out. We're on all those things.
You got a MySpace page?
Yes, absolutely. MySpace. Yeah, and please to come on the show and be a guest or a host. Do what? I didn't hear that last one.
And a Bebo.
God. Wait, is that an old one, or is that one I've just never heard of?
I don't know. I've heard it.
I thought I knew all of them, but then they pop up all the time. We need a TikTok now, I guess, so we can do. Yeah. I don't know. So all the 14-year-olds can watch us dance or something. Yeah. My nieces are all over TikTok. That's their thing. That's what they do. Anyway, so who do we have tonight? We have Tim, my neighbor, from about 2 miles down the road in Lowell, Mass. John in Philadelphia. Bradley, I haven't seen Bradley in a long time. Bradley down there having them crawdads and shrimp etouffee and the beignet in New Orleans, one of my favorite places. And Ray, are you in Liverpool at the moment? I saw the other day you were in Wales or someplace.
Yeah, I was in Cardiff, our other site, but I'm back in Liverpool right now. So yeah,
back in Liverpool. All right. So Ray's back.
Moving around, but I'm doing it.
Ray's back in Liverpool. So it's good to have you here. Borba. No, I'm going to.
No, but you can come on.
But you can come
we do the
with
fixture
us.
Focus.
Yes,
we have. We play
Chelsea.
Yeah,
you could come on and debate with us, Kevin. Yeah, you could totally do that. That'd be fine. Yeah, Kevin's all right. Kevin's a good dude. Despite being Chelsea and all, Kevin's a good dude. So, we're not allowed to talk about Curry. We're not allowed to talk about anything really. So, so I just read on, and we're gonna do some Hammers polls in a minute here. But did I just see that there's been some more positive COVID tests in the Premier League?
Yeah.
4 more players. This is from 3 hours ago. And Hammers poll says 4 more players and staff from the Premier League have contracted like they're gonna have it build a shed for them. Contracted the virus. Anyway, so I mean, the Bundesliga seems to be going okay, doesn't it? Has there not? I mean, there haven't been any cases there, have there, that we know of?
It just looks stupid. Real quick, before we do that, there's something I've been meaning to do for the longest time, and I keep forgetting to do every single episode. And I don't mean to waste your guys' time here, but this is something that I've been.
We're doing is wasting time.
No, I know, but this is really important to me. I just listen over the last couple months. We've been getting a lot of sales in our shop, and I really appreciate it. And a lot of these people don't have social media pages where I can get in contact with them. They get an automated message back from us saying, thank you so much for purchasing in our shop, blah, blah. But I'd like to just shout out a few people that have recently purchased some stuff in our shop saying thank you, because it really means a lot to
That's great.
us. It helps us, obviously pay for the things that we need to pay for to continue to do this. So Anthony DiPaolo, Don Gillahan, Jack England, Nick Doble from Mile High Hammers, recognize that name, Jason Dooley, myself, sorry, Anthony
Pelican.
Pelican twice. Anthony, God, the Minecraft shirt is awesome, by the way. I got that for my son, and it's just
you
great.
did?
I got the sugar skull for my wife, and it looks great.
I gotta do it.
Anthony McLaren from England bought a ton of stuff, so thank you so much. It was actually he bought American Hammer stuff, which is cool. Wes Cunningham, which is I think he hangs out with the Dallas Hammers. but he's a good friend of Adam Frankel, who actually he popped in one of the last episodes. Wally, obviously, Wally loves to buy shit in our shop. I really appreciate that. William Eldridge, Raymond Borum.
Can I just say, I haven't had it delivered yet because Liverpool's post is not being delivered. I don't know what's going
It's all
on.
been stolen, Ray. That's why.
Yeah, probably.
It's all been nicked. You know that. You know how that works.
I don't know why anyone in Liverpool want to steal it. It's a West Ham
That's
thing.
fucked up. I know. Sorry, man, but it's good stuff. When you get it, you'll love it. You'll appreciate it that much more. Just a few more people. Michael Stosic, William Eldridge again actually bought some more stuff. Wow, thank you. Even Alex bought something in here. That was cool. Mike Schiaffoni, I think. Patrick Burns, Pat Kelly, Edwin Tubby from Casey, and Zach and so on. But anyway, I just want to – I've never done that before. And I really want to say thank you guys and gals,
Appreciate
whatever.
it.
I really appreciate that because rather than having like a Patreon where you guys are just giving us money and stuff like that for nothing, we're just to watch us. For free. I mean, you're actually getting tangible stuff that you can wear that look cool, you know, and whether it's our stuff or not. I mean, some of the stuff is, you know, supporters group stuff, which is great. But the bottom line is you're getting something in return. I mean, we're not just
and it's cool stuff and it's nice stuff. You know what I mean? It is.
It really is. So anyway, sorry about that. Bundesliga, yeah.
Well, you know what's funny? We talk about Bundesliga. So this is actually interesting. Gabe brings this up. Now, from what I've read, there's two things I wanted to mention very quickly. First of all, Bolin badges. You should guys follow this guy on Twitter. Follow Steve on Twitter. He's a good dude. He's got hundreds of badges from all over the world, many of which have crossed hammers on him, like West Ham. I don't know why I just thought of that, but anyway, Steve asked me to give him a shout out, so please follow him if you're inclined to be on Twitter. But now, Gabe, I read on there's a website called World Soccer Talk, and I'm sorry about the S in there, but that's the name of it. It's done by a guy here in the U.S. named Christopher Harris. He's not a West Ham fan, but he's a really good dude. He and I worked together. We didn't work for the same company, but we worked together some years back, and we kind of got to know each other a little bit. So World Soccer Talk is a really good website for American fans. A lot of TV schedules, a lot of TV ratings, a lot of interesting stuff. So he was writing the other day that the TV networks broadcasting the games have the option to pipe in crowd noise. So like Fox here was doing it, but like BT Sport was not doing it. And I don't know where the crowd noise comes from, if it's like supplied by the Bundesliga or if the TV networks themselves are doing it, but it is like an optional thing the TV networks can do. So yes, Gabe, you did hear crowd noise in a Bundesliga match because Fox was pumping it in to the broadcast. So I don't know, which I think is
weird.
I hate this without fan stuff. All right. And I'll say again, I'm the only one who feels this way. Nobody else feels this way. I don't really care. I wouldn't play the games until you can get fans back. I don't care how long it takes. I do the whole idea of playing the games with nobody in the ground. It's just training, you know. And I feel this way about all sports. I feel this way about Bundesliga or Premier League. I feel this way about the NHL and the NBA, and you know, I'm a big hockey fan. You guys know that, but I don't want to watch the Bruins play in, you know, some neutral arena in a playoff tournament with nobody in the stands. At that point, it makes me sad. I'd rather not watch than watch that.
Did you hear the 24-team playoff fucking Stanley Cup tournament?
A 24-team tournament to be played at various neutral arenas. Presumably someplace where they didn't make the playoffs, right? So maybe I don't know, maybe like Los Angeles or who else is not in the playoffs? Calgary.
It's all ridiculous. Yeah, you're right, Lee, though.
I can't. You know, Vinny. You guys know Vinny WHUFC on Twitter. If you haven't followed him, he's a good dude too. Posts a lot of great highlights. Really good guy. He wrote a blog post today that if you find it is worth checking out. He says, and maybe this is a little bit of an emotional statement for him, but he says if the Premier League play without fans in the ground, he's never going to watch the Premier League again. Again, I mean, I think it's an emotional statement. However, I understand where he's coming from. The guy's a season ticket holder. He has been for 23 years, and this is basically a big slap in the face to the people who actually make the effort to go to the games. You know, I'm obviously not in that category for, you know, I think reasons that are pretty clear. But for those who go, that's how I feel. It's a big slap in the face. So, and I can't watch the Bundesliga matches without the fans. It drives me batty. It's just, again, I wonder, like, it makes me wonder, what am I doing here? This seems like a huge waste of my time. So I don't know. I mean, we talk about this a lot, but now that we've got Bundesliga going, we've had 2 rounds of matches. I think we've had 2 rounds of matches with no fans in the grounds. What do you think? And are you going to be into the Premier League as you usually are if you're having to watch, West Ham play in an even quieter London stadium?
Start with Bradley and go counterclockwise. So
let's start with you, Bradley. What do you think?
So I'll try to go fast, but
no, take your time.
Take your time. We get nothing else to talk
about.
Fast. Slow down, Bradley.
It's your show tonight.
So I am all for and supporting any measures we could take to reduce COVID and the curve and all that. I'm very much pro being safe. At the same time, and I know putting someone else's bodies on the line is not my call, but I do get a little annoyed with Premier players who are making what most of us make in a year in a week, being intimidated to play football when you have down at the grocery store, a guy making $12 an hour, mixing with hundreds of people a day. Yeah. Whereas you have one player interacting with 22 people for an hour, so it's not even extreme contact.
Outdoors.
Outdoors, and if they're paid that much, it's like, some of us are co-workers, some of us are working construction, some of us are working all kinds of different types, prostitution, even. I mean, maybe none of you, but there's hazard pay.
You don't think I could make it as a gigolo?
Listen, Lee is in marketing, so be careful.
That's true. It's worse than prostitution, actually. It's so much worse.
Right, but part of me says, you're pretty much getting hazard pay to play for 1 hour, 90 minutes a week, doing this. So part of me is pushing back against the players. Sorry. Now, as far as the fans, I've enjoyed watching. I've actually did something like this, like we have now, like a Zoom with 3 other guys, a couple from another podcast, and we watched a German game, and it really was just about the camaraderie of us talking like we are now, talking shit on the other players or on the Bundesliga or all that stuff. So it was enjoyable enough. I think because I'm not a regular stadium goer and I'm missing that experience, that it's not too much of a setback. Whereas I can see Vinny, a lifetime Saturday, Sunday afternoon goer says, hey, this isn't what it is. My experience is bodies in the seats, limbs and
it's the pub beforehand, and it's the pub afterward, and it's the walk to the ground, and it's the whole build up to it. You know what I mean? Even for us, Tim and Ken and I don't watch every match together. We do watch when we can. But even now, it's, for me, it's one of those things where I'm not really worried. For my own self, I'm not as worried about COVID, but my mom's 75 and we're trying to protect her. And, so I am thinking about where we go and what we do, and we are being careful. And it's the kind of thing where even to have somebody over to watch the game, because it's not really, the pub doesn't, even when restaurants open around here, which is probably not going to be for another couple of weeks, the whole idea of standing 6 feet apart from people and wearing masks, it just doesn't appeal to me. Like, we'd have to do something like move the TV outside, you know what I mean? And have us stand at a distance. It's just the whole experience sounds more stressful than it's worth almost. Right. Even from my perspective here, sitting 2,000 miles or 3,000 miles, whatever we are from London. The whole idea to me of, being a fan and, being able to, not being able to go to these games when you're used to it, and then having to settle for this sort of like, you can watch it on a stream. I don't know. It sounds terrible. The other thing is, listen, I think Robbie makes a really valid point here. Yeah. I love the fans on TV. I love the singing. I love the noise. And I think you're changing the rules in the middle of the game here if you say, well, we're going to play without fans, because now, again, and I know, jokes aside about the atmosphere at London Stadium, when Villa come to play us, there's not going to be nobody in the ground. And, we had to go to Villa and play with 65,000 fans in Villa Park or wherever their stadium is now. And, they're going to come to us. It's not the same thing. It's not a reciprocal thing. So I don't know, Ray, what's your thought on this stuff?
Well, I've watched a couple of the German games, and it's not interested me. So I've ended up just watching the highlights on YouTube afterwards because it's just so much better
Me too.
to have small doses than rather the whole 90 minutes. And I think to myself, and I look at some of the score lines that are coming in, and it's like, would them really be happening if there was a crowd there, if it was more competitive? No, it wouldn't done because like people are winning like 5-0 or like 4-5, and just crazy score lines coming in that you would get in the Premier League once in a blue moon. Now you get it every couple of times. So and I feel like when the Premiership comes back, the middle teams that are safe from relegation, not really got much to play for in Europe,
they're not going to show up. They're not going to show up. Yeah,
they're just going to be and if they're playing against teams like Watford and Aston Villa, they're just going to let it just go through. So.
To be fair, it is it's a fascinating sport, synchronized swimming. But no, Ray, I think the point you make is really good. I mean, we know that Troy Deeney has said he doesn't want to come back, and that's a club that's in relegation trouble. And listen, I mean, I actually think Bradley makes a really good point about the guy down at Market Basket who makes $10 an hour, having to go to work in what is a more dangerous situation that a Premier League footballer is in. By the same token, Troy Deeney has an 18-month-old with breathing problems, and he doesn't want to bring coronavirus home. And I think that's reasonable for him to feel that way. I do. I mean, again, I'm not a big fan of mass panic, but if you're in a situation where you or somebody else is vulnerable, you have to be careful. You have to look out. I feel that way again with my mom being here. It's just something we have to think about, maybe more than most people our age would. I have asthma, and so does my son, and so does my wife, and so that doesn't help either. So I respect what he's saying. John, what's your thought about all this? I think I know, but tell me anyway.
Yeah, I've probably said it a few times over the last few weeks, but two main thoughts on the whole situation, I suppose. One is, you can't finish the season and call it sportingly consistent with how the season started. It's
exactly.
Not. Exactly. If you don't have home field advantage, if anybody that's read Soccernomics is good for at least one goal to the home team a game, it's not sportingly consistent. And then that's not even getting into the myriad of problems that you're going to have when certain teams' best players are out because of coronavirus or rescheduling.
Or when a team has to quarantine, like this Italian club, one of the big Italian clubs, Serie A clubs, I can't remember which one it is because I have no memory, but there is a coach who may have tested positive, and the whole club may now have to quarantine for 14 days. I mean, what's going to happen when somebody tests positive after a match, or somebody who's been with the team tests positive? What do? Stick the whole of the Crystal Palace or Southampton or West Ham team in quarantine for 2 weeks?
Exactly.
I mean, anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's stupid. It's stupid, and it's not going to be sportingly consistent. So for that reason, don't do it. On your point about pumping in noise into the TV, it's porn. That's what that is. It is pornographic. It looks like it. It sounds like it, but it ain't the real thing. Without fans there, without anybody in the stadium, without natural atmosphere, without natural noises, whatever you want to call it, without the intimacy, it's porn. It's not football. It's porn.
Yeah, it's not. You're right. It's not the real thing. Yeah. It's not the real thing, and it's not. It's not even. Yeah, it's not even particularly.
John, what do you think should happen with like Liverpool or Leeds or West Brom?
Yeah, I think everybody's seen the product on the pitch this season. If anybody doesn't think that Liverpool won the league, I think they're kidding themselves.
Yeah,
I think you give it to them.
Obviously,
and
give it to them.
You shouldn't hurt those teams that were at least in the automatic promotion places. I could see that argument. Maybe bring 2 up, and then take a few more down over the next few seasons. I mean,
yeah, I like that.
It just is what it is. Everybody's dealing with a shitty situation. I think everybody, as long as everybody eats the same amount of shit, that's what fairness is going to look like.
Well, and this is what Robbie says right here. He says, the 2020-2021 season is going to happen at some point. If you play the whole thing behind closed doors, which I hate the idea, but if you do, at least it's fair, right? Beginning to end, it's fair. To say that this is what my 9-year-old does to my 6-year-old, right? If he's not winning, he changes the rules in the middle of the game. You can't change the rules in the middle of the game. So much of football is set up around around having the home field advantage, which I know is kind of an American expression, but even the whole idea of in European competition, you have the away goals rule. An away goal is worth more than a goal at home because in theory it's harder to score because you're having to, deal with the crowd. And I think we've seen in Bundesliga games and, mostly highlights that I've seen and some comments I've seen on Twitter, there probably been some controversial calls that didn't happen because the crowd wasn't there to influence the referee. So there's all sorts of factors that play in that are not going to play in if there's nobody there. Anyway, Tim, what do you think?
I think exactly what you said to begin with before this whole conversation started. It's basically no fans, just stop it now until fans can come back, period. I mean, it makes no sense to play any games behind closed doors at all. I don't even think next season. You know what? Fuck it. I mean, it makes no sense. Football is not football. The reason why I started following football, back in 2010, 2011-ish, was because of the crowd, because of the crowd sound. I had to turn the volume. I worked second shift. I had to turn the volume down because I was watching English football matches and the crowd was so loud singing the songs, and I love that atmosphere. That's what made me fall in love with English football. And that's you can't play the sport. It's not a sport. Training is not a sport.
Right.
Like football is a sport. You know what I'm saying? A pickup game to me ain't shit either. Like that's why I never played like pickup sports. You know what I mean? It's there's no competition. There's no trophy. There's no nothing. And to me, this whole season, I mean, you either just stop it right now and say, here's what it is, that's that, or I would be absolutely okay with AFC Bournemouth going down because I fucking hate them. They're this tiny little club and they should go back down to League Two with a tiny little stadium in their tiny little town. So I saw something going out there where they were like the points per game average or something like that. I guess Bournemouth or Norwich would go down, and that made me so happy. So if that's the case,
yes, unless they count home and away. Now that's the problem.
Well, either way, I mean,
if you factor in home and away, we go down. That's
Well, as long as Bournemouth goes down, I don't care.
I mean, and actually, Ray, I appreciate this. Ray just sent a message here on a Facebook Messenger saying that Troy Deeney is kind of having some second thoughts about not going back to training. He's talked to the government's deputy chief medical. I can't read the whole thing. Deputy chief medical officer, and he's thinking like maybe he'll go back. So I don't want to impugn Troy Deeney out of turn, But anyway, another thing though, and I'm with you. What I love about West Ham is the fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reason I ended up supporting West Ham, which was not something that I set out to do in life, was because of the fans. It's because the more I met fans of other clubs, the less I liked all those clubs. And the more I met West Ham fans, the more I loved West Ham. It's not the players. It's not the owners. It's not the ground. It is a little bit the neighborhood, but that's not there anymore. I mean, we're not in that neighborhood anymore. It's God knows it's not the success of the team. It's the fans, So you strip that away and have just the team playing in an empty ground, and it's like, well, this is nothing to me. This doesn't really even have meaning to me anymore. Also, but I wanted to ask too, and I just thought about this. Did anybody see? There was a note on Twitter today. I don't know if it's true or not. That Claret and Hugh, the detectives, the sleuths at Claret and Hugh have decided that they have not seen pictures of. I think it's
4 players. Yeah, I saw
4
that.
players. It's Cresswell. It's Ayeti. It's Antonio.
Yeah,
and who's
Agbana?
Agbana, right? Our Hammer of the Year. Pretty much our Hammer of the Year elect. What do we make of this? Claret and Hugh is so strange to me because sometimes they're a mouthpiece for the club. It's like the whole Jeremy Ngakia thing. They've kind of come out with. I don't know, how much of it's true. I don't know what's true there or not. It's hard to know. With Sullivan and Gold, it's hard to know if anything's true at all. So I don't know if Claret and Hugh are sleuthing, if there's any truth to this. Does anybody have any feelings about this? Bradley, we can start with you again.
The only evidence that I would say there was any validity to that, and this also might have come from Claret and Hugh too, so they could be manufacturing their own story, is that Agbana and Cresswell have both expressed frustration that they're being asked to play again. in different articles that have been
I did
released.
hear that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I heard that too.
I hadn't heard anything from Antonio or anything from a Jetty, but or a Yeti. Sorry,
Yeah.
people who.
It doesn't really
We-
matter.
yeah.
He's not going to be around much
Who?
longer, so I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
exactly.
worry about it. Yeah.
Sports will get me for that. But yeah, so
He's like the fourth guy going like, "Yeah, I'm not showing up either, guys. I'm not showing up either." Everybody's like, "Yeah, okay."
all right. You should work for it, boy. So yeah, for those I've heard, but also, I mean, I've seen photos of them in other shots. So sometimes they don't play the whole team. Maybe they just did half and half. You know, maybe somebody's resting up. They have different. I mean, right now we're just like schoolgirls, kind of like, "What's West Ham doing? What's West Ham doing?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's true.
It could be schoolboys too. It could be schoolboys not trying to. But yeah, like
Gossip. Yeah.
it's happening. Oh my gosh, let's have some drama. And
Yeah.
that's going to be preserved in the archives for all time, isn't it? Gosh, I won't do that impression
Oh,
again.
please, I mean, the stuff that's preserved in these archives. If anybody actually watched this,
That's it. My favorite is the day that Lee fell backwards in his chair. That was the funniest.
my chair broke.
His chair
I-
broke.
I have upgraded my chair big time because I broke another chair. I broke this one. See, this one's all like,
Or the flag falling in the top.
yeah, the back of this one is busted off. So I actually invested in a chair. So I've got a half decent chair now, which I hopefully lasts me like a few weeks anyway. Yeah, I know you're right, Bradley. It is. It's all gossip, and we're all just like hanging on every word because there's no.
You prefaced it with on Twitter. Like I saw this on Twitter. Did you guys see this on Twitter? Like Twitter is the British press, man. It's the
Yeah.
fucking
Well, it's a little
biggest
better than
shit
it's a little
pile,
better than the
fucking
British
fake
press.
news. Huh?
No. It comes from Claret and Hugh though. So it was on Twitter, but the source was Claret and Hugh, who have
Again.
sleuthed, who have
Listen.
studied all the social media pictures like they're like they're
Wait,
Alex
so tell me
Jones.
this, Lee. So that was a list of players they didn't see. Does that mean they have seen Roberto and Sanchez at the training ground, or are they
I
just
hope
leaving
not.
them out?
I hope not, but I guess, but I hope not.
There you go.
Sanchez was in one of the first videos.
I mean, you can imagine Sanchez showing up and
So,
David Moyes being kind of like, "Are you sure you want to play? Like, you're not vulnerable to the virus, or you don't have like a grandmother at home with you. You're like, why don't you just, take a break?" I can imagine Sanchez being all excited and ready to go, and everybody being like, I don't know.
Well, West Ham is in the same boat because their media team's playing training videos from last year. Did you see that recently? They had Felipe Anderson doing like a nutmeg on somebody, and they're like, "Last year's training video," and I was like, "That's pretty bad."
That is so classic West Ham. The incompetence from top to bottom is what's astonishing to me. Like, it starts with Galt Sullivan and Brady. It goes through most of the playing squad, the trainers, there's the whole fact that nobody can get anything right at any level of the club. It's like it would be hard to find that many people who are screw ups, but here we are.
Yeah.
Starts at the top.
Yeah. So it's like
set the culture.
it's just a total embarrassment.
I hear that all the time.
Yeah, but so I don't know. I don't know. Ray, what were you? Do you have any thoughts on the Furious Four who have apparently not arrived? I mean, I don't know. I think it's
Cinco.
oh
yeah.
Lanzini too.
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't see his
yeah.
name, but I believe it. Would anybody know? He hadn't shown up all season, so it doesn't really matter. But
Fair play.
I mean, we can't. Here's the thing, though. If they're really not showing up, we don't stay up without those guys, do we? We don't. Not without Ogbonna. Not
Right.
without
Antonio's.
not without Antonio. The other ones maybe. I mean, Cresswell, but Cresswell where he plays.
Well,
what
it
do you-
depends on the other teams, right? You're thinking that all these other teams are fully prepared, fully stocked.
assuming the
You know what
other
I mean?
teams are right,
But-
which
but
they may
I
not be.
don't-
Which they may not be.
It's going to be people using COVID as an excuse not to fucking get out there and play. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
Just
I
anything,
think-
dude. Yeah. But there are people that legitimately won't be there. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's always going to be somebody. who's
there
gonna
will be
use it as an
some
excuse.
who really are not at any specific risk, who just won't show up because they don't want to.
Let's see if Kevin Nolan contracts it around Christmas time. That used to be his red card, so he can spend the holidays
yeah.
home with the family.
That's right. I forgot about
That was the
that.
rumor, anyway. Who knows?
That's
Different
I
part of
forgot
the
about
Nolan
that.
family, so I don't know.
That's
Wait, what's your opinion, man?
fantastic.
Well, I haven't really got an opinion. Each to own. I know Creswell's just had twins, so he's
Yeah.
probably getting in the ear from the wife. Don't you go in there? Don't you crack it? You know, and having twins, it's going to be hard for him as well. You know, John will know that better than anyone else. That's why the old hair's gone, John.
Actually,
I ain't got any ear hair, Ray. It's all in the ear, like you were saying, mate.
Actually, I think this is. I was going to do some Hammers polls, which we can get to in a minute. But actually, what I think Robbie asked a good question here. Supposedly, we're even more skint than usual somehow. Do we think that the financial situation will push the owners to sell? Everything.
Like, who's going to buy?
Well,
who's going to buy a team that doesn't even play football?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really valid point.
For what year?
A team that does not own a stadium, a team that has no value outside of the value of the actual players themselves. But the thing I keep reading is that nothing's going to happen until we've ensured that we're staying up one way or another, whether it's through points per game or it's on the pitch behind closed doors or whatever. It's not going to happen if there's a threat that we're going to go down. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen. As you said, what's the value? What's the value of West Ham right now?
I'll give you value. I'll disagree with that. Just play devil's advocate.
Go for it. I'd love for them to sell. So please.
I would too. So if you are the mega rich, right, where money is absolutely no object, when better to pick something up than when it's at its lowest value?
Oh, sure. I mean, right. That's when you buy your stock, right? That's when you buy anything. You buy low and sell high. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a valid point. I don't. The issue to me is if you're from, if you're an oil sheikh or if you're a Russian oligarch or, I don't know, if you're a multi-billionaire, if you're Jeff Bezos or, Richard Branson, I mean, you got a lot of choices, right? You could buy 96 English clubs or one of 96 English clubs. You could buy, like the Saudis have gone for Newcastle, although apparently that may be in doubt. Again.
Oh, did that not go through yet?
It has not gone through yet, and now there may be some doubt around. I'm not really sure. I didn't really understand why, and I didn't really look into it all that closely, but it has not gone through yet. So, I mean, why would you buy West Ham and not say like Crystal Palace or I don't know, Southampton or any other Premier League club? That's kind of
has their own stadium, etc. Yeah,
right.
Ray, I'd ask you this question: would somebody prefer West Ham because they're in London? Like, is that more marketable to somebody from outside?
Yeah, London is very marketable. But, this is why we've got London in our badge at the moment. So, and everyone wants to be so close to the city centre. London Stock, all the history, all that jazz. So I was a bit surprised when they wanted to take Newcastle originally. So I would have thought they'd be closer. So the only problem is with our owners, and I was going to say this before, they've overvalued the club for what it is. And that's why they won't sell right now, is because they probably still see it as a $500 million worth company, if not more.
Yeah, they do.
So I don't think even Red Bull at the moment, they're probably going through some tough times because there's hardly any Red Bull sales. So they're going to be just holding everything back.
Yeah, I don't think the Red Bull thing is never going to happen. I don't, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I believe this. Red Bull, I don't think, I don't know that Red Bull has the money to buy a Premier League club. All right. It's a step up from even the Bundesliga. It's a big step up from the other clubs they own, which are in like Austria and MLS. Plus, Red Bull is 100% about branding. Everything Red Bull does is about branding. Everything. You got to have the Bulls on the badge. You got to have the Red Bull name in the club. You completely take away the name of the club. They're not the Metro Stars anymore. I don't know what Leipzig was called before Red Bull took it over. Probably Leipzig Fußball Club or something. I'm really not sure. But Red Bull is the drink itself is disgusting, right?
No,
Bull-
no, I drink so
No,
much of
I
it. I'm
love
gonna
Red
have
Bull.
this. I have this. What do you call it?
Oh, I
This,
hate it. I hate it.
This birthmark forming in the shape of a bull.
No food, you fuckers. We're on to beverages now. Lee,
I hate
Red Bull,
Red
yes
Bull.
or no?
But Red Bull is it's a brand, and if you cannot buy a Premier League club and change the name and change the badge, and they can't change the name, we know that because Hull City tried it. If you remember, wouldn't even let them add Tigers to the name. If you can't do that, they're not going to want to touch us. They're not going to touch us, and I don't think they're ever going to touch us. And I think those rumors came absolutely out of nowhere and probably had zero credibility to begin with. I don't know.
Sullivan.
Do you know more than I do?
No, I just think Sullivan wants a dynasty still. I mentioned this before on John when John was running the show. Like, they're poor guy, you know, both owners, Sullivan and Gold, poor guys, local guys from the street peddling porn, and they made their way, and now they're big shots with their fur coats, and like, he wants a dynasty. He wants this fake dynasty that he created with this cheap shit. Pass it on to his son. He thinks he's made it. You know, he looks good in front of everybody. Karen Brady, you know, for all we faulted for, is probably the only one to be like, let's sell this and make some money.
She probably is. I agree with you there. I think that's probably true.
On his out, loves the nostalgia. I like Gold a little bit for as much as I can. He seems like a sweet guy who's letting Sullivan pull all the. Sullivan
I agree. I don't hate Gold. I don't. I don't like the ownership as a group, but individually, I would have a beer with him.
Yeah.
You know.
I
agree.
See the rumor of Mike Ashley buying David Gold's portion of West Ham. Should I even open that?
As legitimate as Red Bull buying West Ham. You know?
Totally
I saw that too.
Totally, the Mike Ashley thing. A guy on Twitter made that up, and then somebody ran with it. Yeah, no. If I could find it, I would find it. I never save these things, or remember.
We actually discussed it on our show a few weeks before it appeared on Twitter. I'm pretty sure someone was watching our show and fucking put it on Twitter.
That's very possible.
We did mention it on our show. I swear to God. I can't remember what. I think it was the AHTV and Friends. I'll have to go back and double check. I'm pretty damn sure we mentioned it like a fucking month ago or 2 months.
It's very possible that it came from us. It's very possible. Yeah. And I'll tell you, you know what's funny to me, and you guys talk about Jackson. Listen, I can't stand David Sullivan. Of the three, he's the one I like the least. But I don't mind his son in a way. I think his son might actually do a half decent job of running a club. Like, he's really done pretty well with the women's team, which is a hard sell in the UK. It's a hard sell anywhere. Women's sports are a hard sell, period. And women's football is a hard sell. We all know this. With this, we're in our third or fourth league here in the US after the first 2 or 3 failed. It's a hard sell. And this is the greatest country for women's football in the world. And we still can't sell it, So I think he's done a good job. They've got fans. They've got a good squad that's getting better. They've got a very credible manager. I mean,
and you did a good interview with. Didn't you do an interview, Lee, with the West Ham women, like 3 American?
We did. Yeah. Only one is still with the club, unfortunately. The other 2 came.
The
back.
English girl, yeah. The 2 Americans.
Anna's still with Anna Morehouse is still a keeper with West Ham, but the other 2 have come back. Well, they would be playing in the league if it were happening. But Jack. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Jack Sullivan to me sort of doesn't sound like.
I want to hate him. I want to hate him because I hate his father. But it's one of those things where he gave Gary and myself time, and Steve Mothersole, and he actually has an American Hammers TV scarf, and he actually had time to take a photo with us and actually shake our hands and stuff like that, and actually say that he watched the women's show on American Hammers Network, and to give us time like that. I mean, it's hard to hate that. You know what I'm saying? For me personally.
He's very young. What is he, like 20, 21 now, something like that?
Yeah.
He's very young. He seems like a very listen. He got that TV special on Britain's Youngest Football Boss. Yeah. That's fantastic. That's tremendous publicity. He got women's football in front of the whole nation. He got West Ham in front of the whole country. I mean, for something other than being crap in the Premier League. I think the guy sounds very capable, in all honesty. I mean, listen, think about your dad. I mean, you're not your dad. I loved my dad. Dad was a wonderful man. There are things that I would do that he would not have done. So I don't want to just ascribe all the qualities of David Sullivan to his son.
He's not sitting back doing nothing. He's working.
That's
give it
what
to
I
him.
Mean.
Like, a lot of fucking rich kids don't do shit. You know what I mean?
That's exactly. He's putting out. I mean, listen, if he does want it to be a dynasty, that's obviously the best scenario is for them to sell. We know that we're all, but if I could swap Tebow's not convinced. He's probably right. But if I could swap David Sullivan for Jack Sullivan today, I'd probably do it.
If that was the only option.
Right. If that was the only option.
Yeah.
The only
I
option.
think the other thing with Jack is that he actually listens to other people, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He has a good team around him, so he actually listens. Where I think, Sullivan Senior just does what he wants.
Well, yeah. I mean, David Sullivan the man is just staggeringly arrogant, and he's such a grifter. I don't know how to explain it. Like he's just such an embarrassment to me. I mean, Gold is a little more low profile. Sullivan's the guy who always comes out and spreads these stupid rumors and just does. He's Del Boy. He really is. I know Only Fools and Horses never really ran in this country, but it's a great show if you're American, you've never seen it. Only Fools and Horses is one of the great British sitcoms of all time about, two brothers who were always trying to make it, like selling sort of stolen stuff or cheap stuff, or they're trying to like they're kind of low-level scam artists. And that's what Sullivan is. He's Del Boy. He just is, without the style. With that stupid Russian hat that he wears. He's just an embarrassment, And I mean, West Ham have always been a working class club, and I realized that, Terry Brown had his personality traits that were unusual, but Sullivan's just, I don't know. And then Karen Brady, I mean, I don't understand how she's a baroness. What did that even means? Or why she's on Shark Tank in the UK. Is she good at business? What has she ever done?
It's a good brand.
I mean, Mark Cuban is like, friggin' Mark Cuban developed broadcast.com. He brought the Dallas Mavericks, an NBA championship. Believe me, I grew up in Dallas. That is no mean feat, let me tell you. So I don't know why Brady's in that category with him. It just doesn't make any sense.
Lee, can I make 3 points on that? Because otherwise I'm going to.
You make 10 points. You make 40 points. It's fine with me.
There's things in my head that needs to be said. I think he's on the right path. I'll say that. And I like how they've set him up with the women's team. I like even as much criticism he got for being in the room with some of the transfer negotiations. That's the exact kind of exposure that if you're the owner's son, you should be in that situation. Yeah. You should see how it's done. You should see the inside, and you should get a feel for it and be a part of it.
Right.
2 points that are on the opposite side. One, nothing would have been more devastating than David sending his son Jack to the women's team and having that fail. So I think, he probably had the resources he needed to do a pretty good job there and the team around him. And 2,
of course.
Little investment goes a long
in women's football, yes.
Long way in a women's game compared to in the men's league. So I hope that he's on the right track. I want nothing but the best for him, honestly, because if he's going to be the next gatekeeper of our club, and it is our club, even though they own it, by financially, they really are the guardians of the people's club. So I hope that he's going down the right path, and I hope he is a good owner. I think what we could all agree on, whether it's him or somebody else, is we're at the point where we probably need some new blood. So.
Oh, no question about that. I mean, I just want to be very, very clear that the best option is for them to sell and sell up. And as you said, John, I mean, as is the case with most rich kids, they're not going to publicly fail most of the time because, daddy's going to back them up. Right. But I do think that he's been fairly impressive for being his father's son, and for doing what he's done with a difficult product to promote, which was women's football. And I think he's done it, relatively effectively. But yes, you're right. It's rare that a rich kid sort of publicly crashes and burns because families don't allow that. They don't want that. David Sullivan is 71. I don't know. 71's it's not really that old. I mean, how old is Warren Buffett? Isn't he 80 something?
He's still alive.
Warren Buffett? Not only is he still alive, he's still like super wealthy. I think Warren Buffett's in his 80s. I don't know. These guys, these rich guys live forever. You know what I mean? They get some sort of like secret, elixir or something. They live forever. All right. why don't we? Because I mentioned this before, then I never did it. Why don't we maybe do some hammers polls? If it shouldn't crash my. This is my new computer. It's my work computer. It shouldn't crash my work computer. I mean, that'd be a real problem. All right, this one seems like as good as one as any to start with, and is in fact looks like it's the first one there. Let's talk about the football then. Should it ever come back? Allaire up top. Who do you play with him? Antonio, Ayeti, Bowen, or my favorite option, the eternal need to sign a striker? Bradley, what do you think?
I'd go with Bowen because we usually strike out with strikers. He still hasn't proved himself. Antonio, I like as a right back. When I like him as a right back, it's fun to have him there or right mid.
On the right wing, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because remember when he played right back? Remember when Slav had him playing right back?
He did do good, but he did all right last season. He played right back, and he was pretty much serving as a winger. He was just overrunning everybody, and he defended decently against. I think it was Liverpool one season or one match. So mixed, yeah, but I don't think Ajeti has it. Antonio and Haller, I think, are never gonna. They're not. Antonio doesn't have enough class to link up with Haller, and he's good at like getting everybody to follow him. So maybe that gives Haller some space to knock one in. But I would love to see Bowen in any way we can up front.
Yeah, I mean, need to sign a striker is always that, option that sits out there that everybody chooses. But if you took that away, I think it's got to be Bowen in this group. What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, Bowen's my boy. I have to pick Bowen. Antonio, I see him as a super sub. I see him as coming on, with the legs near enough in the second half at some point. Jetty, we've not seen enough of that guy. He hasn't really shown anything, so he hasn't really won that position yet. Bowen, we've seen him play. We've seen him put loads of energy from the start.
Seen him score. Yeah.
He knows it. He gets it. You see him at Hull. He plays with passion. Do we need another striker? No. I feel like we need other positions sorting out first before we get even bothered doing a striker position.
Like right back and left back both. Yeah. Both fullback.
I wouldn't even say right back. I'd say left back definitely.
Left back first, I think, is the priority. Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like they're going to ditch Masuaku. Listen, okay, you know what? No, I'm not getting into that. We'll get into that in a minute. John, what's your take on the striker situation?
I'm going to mention a player who's not on the list, and I think it depends on which Felipe Anderson comes back to the training ground. Because if a good Felipe Anderson comes back, you've only got room for one of them, and in that case, you're taking Bowen. If a bad Felipe Anderson comes back, I think maybe you make room for both Bowen and Antonio in the team.
Are you thinking like a 4-4-1-1?
Yeah, I mean, kind of those two wingers seem to pinch in with the striker, right? I mean, I think that's kind of the way we've tried to play. Yeah. Maybe one of them's a little more advanced, but Bowen off of Haller, Antonio off of Haller. I mean, Haller is obviously the guy that's doing the knock-ons, so you're going to need players that can get back and forth. And if Felipe's not doing the business, Lanzini hasn't been doing it. I think we just need legs. We need pace and we need legs, and those two players give us both of those things.
Yep. Tim, what do you think?
Option E. Yarmolenko.
Oh no, you know what? Hey, we've talked about this a lot. If you guys go back to when he was healthy, we've talked about this a lot.
If you're playing Allaire up by himself, then you have Bowen like near him or on the wing, the right wing, and you'll have Fornals right behind him and Allaire, and then you'll have Anderson on the left or something like that. Then there's no need for Yarmolenko, obviously. Like Ray was saying, Antonio, absolute super sub, and leave him there. I wouldn't start him for $1 million. I would leave him on the bench and be broke. But anyway, Yarmolenko. If you're going to put somebody up top with Allaire, I say Yarmolenko, who's a natural forward.
He's got goals in him.
And bang goals.
I like that idea.
Nice.
Because we had forgotten about him. He's been injured, and
he's in training.
I know he's back in training
with his plastic gloves.
I mean, in theory, everybody should be back, right?
He was in one of the pictures.
Mm-hmm. but I know Fo is right.
Sweating.
They are talking about selling him. Well, he's hot in the UK, right? And he's like from Ukraine, and he's not used to all that kind of. It's 90 degrees in Boston today. It was 90 degrees here today. And my mom, the native Texan, was walking around in blue jeans and a long sleeve shirt because it's just not quite warm enough. Anyway, she had the ceiling fan in her bedroom going on the lowest setting. And I'm like, I'm dying, and she's like, oh, you have to get to triple digits before she really feels it. Yeah, I love the Yarmolenko option. Actually, I really do. I think of these three, it's got to be Bowen, and I'm with you, Ray. I mean, signing a striker that would be great, but it's not our number one area of need. Our number one area of need is at the back. It really all across the back line, but especially at the fullback positions. But yeah, I think it's got to be Bowen. But I would love to, again, I mean, there was a time when Yarmolenko played well for us. We've kind of forgotten about it.
Listen, the other thing is that people are saying in the chat room, like, sell him, and this, that, everything else will make us save money, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to get the $22 million that we paid for him, guys. First and foremost,
no, not even close.
Let's get some use. The guy can bang goals if he's used right. But again, it doesn't matter if Allaire plays up top by himself, or you put Bowen to the right of him, to the behind him, or with him, or whatever. It doesn't matter. What matters is the manager needs to use his players the way they're meant to be played. Right. That goes from the front to the back, everywhere around, in between. He's got to know his players. He's got to play them where they're supposed to be played, and using tactics that help these players succeed. And again, it doesn't. We don't need to sell certain players. We don't need to sell fucking really any of these players except Masuaku and maybe Diop. But anyway.
But do you know what Masuaku was good for us? Masuaku was a good player for us for a while.
In moments, yes, but
I'm not saying he was world class, but he was a good Premier League player.
He's a street baller. He's one of those guys that you see do those tricks and shit and do nutmegs, keep the ball away from players.
Freestylers,
freestylers. There you go.
Yeah,
that's what he should get his own YouTube channel and do his thing. But he's not a footballer, man.
I think he's a good squad winger. I would always keep him as a squad winger when you're so prone to injuries. Why not have him as a backup for Anderson?
Okay, fair enough.
I think the problem with Masuaku, I'm with you, Bradley. I think the problem with he's a poor defender, and you can't have a poor defender play left back. Right. But as a squad winger, I would have no problem with that. I think he's really good going forward. I just think he's terrible at the back. And again, when you got somebody at that back line, you really need a half decent defender.
It's not Yarmolenko's wages. It's just when you think about fucking Wilshire's wages, when you think about fucking anybody else's wages. I mean, Yarmolenko has done way more for us than fucking Carlos Sanchez has done for us. He's done way more than Yeti's done for us. He's done way more than Wilshire's done for us. He's done way more than a lot of players have done for us, even though he hasn't done much lately. But still.
How much did we pay Andy Carroll for how many years to make?
Oh, fuck! It makes me throw up every time I think about that.
He just absolutely robbed us for years and years, and I loved him, but whatever.
Like James Tompkins, he was overpaid as well, wasn't he?
Fuck off! Hey! No, man.
I'll tell you what. Listen, I mean, hey, let me just say this.
Fuck Bilic. Hashtag fuck Bilic. Put it.
I saw this the other day, and I sent this to our little Facebook group, but I don't think I made it public anywhere. So the entire top six now want to buy Josh King from Bournemouth, right?
Who?
Josh King.
Who wants to buy him?
The whole of like everybody in the top six.
Oh yeah, no shit. Because
I sent you this, right?
Yeah.
You guys can go back, and I'm going to tell you this. You guys can go back and watch the very first episodes of this show from like a year and a half ago. And one of us was saying the player we need to buy is Josh King. Now, who was it who was always saying that? Yeah, Tim has said that from the very beginning. I got to say, it's true. It's true. Said from the very beginning.
Like, we don't need another target man. No, we don't need another. I'm like, well, no, the guy's fucking awesome.
And now he's going to end up at Liverpool or Chelsea or Manchester City or someplace like that. So, yeah. So I will give Tim credit for saying Josh King was like the guy we should buy, And no, of course, that never happened, obviously. And now all of a sudden he's going to end up in a.
On that note, I have to go, but I love
Oh.
you guys, and thank you so much for you guys stick around, please. But I have to go. But anyway,
Okay.
thank you so much for everybody in the chat room for sticking around, and enjoy the rest of the show. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night with Hammer It Out with the two ladies. And for everybody else, listen, Bradley, good seeing you again, brother. We'll see you soon. Ray, love you always. John, love the hair. And Lee, love you. All right. See you later,
Talk to you
guys.
soon, man. Talk to you
Take you
soon.
later.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Lee, what's your favorite pizza?
That means we can do
Hey.
food now.
Okay. Can I just tell you? Can I just tell you that we did take out the other day, all right, which we hadn't really been doing. We did take out the other day from Zesty's Pizza here in Chelmsford. All right, now the company I work for, when we were in the office, there was a guy who was a trained chef who also did tech support for the company, and he would make lunch for us every day, and we had a free lunch every day that his dad would make. It was really excellent. Well, when we all got sent home, the company decided to give us $60 a month through Grubhub to spend on food. You know, it's like a makeup for the free lunches. So we spent our $60. We got Zesty's Pizza in Chelmsford. I got a Greek pizza, which went against my rule of always getting marinara sauce on a pizza, right? I got a Greek pizza, which just had like the mozzarella, the feta, it had onions, it had grilled chicken, and it was superb, I have to say. Really good. Really good. And not like the worst thing you could eat if you are on a weight loss plan. So, yeah. It was, but there's this pizza place in Portland, Maine called Portland Pie. It's the best pizza I've ever had. If you ever go to Portland, Maine, or any of the surrounding towns, go to Portland Pie, get the moose head. It's fantastic. Not made out of actual moose head that I know of. I don't know. What about you? Do you guys have pizza preferences now that Mom is gone? We can get our spliffs back out.
I love a meat feast. God, just love a meat feast.
Yeah.
And with, cheese in the stuffing. Love cheese in the stuffing.
I think any food you can put cheese in, it's worth doing. You know what I mean? Anytime you can incorporate cheese into whatever you're eating, it should be done. Yeah. So stuff cheese into pretty much anything. You know. I don't know. Do you guys want to?
Either.
Do what?
I don't mind the ham and pineapple. I know it's controversial. No one likes pineapple.
Oh no, I like it. I like it. That's my wife's favorite pizza. Hawaiian is my wife's favorite pizza, and I like it. It's good.
Lee, can you do the you had up the Diangana poll? Can you pull that up again?
Oh yeah, sure. Hang on a second.
Fucking business, Bradley. Look at that.
Yeah, Bradley. What about your pizza, Bradley? What about your pizza?
Bradley was sent here by Tim to spy on me. That's what it is. I think you mean this one, right? Is this one you mean?
It was no, it was the one where it was. Where would you have him on the bench, starting in the squad, or something like that? It was the one.
Well, hang on a minute. Let me see. I don't remember that one, but there's a lot of Hammers polls, and I've lost my connection
Bradley,
here.
What's your pizza? Most importantly.
Oh, here we go. There's a lot of expectation on Grady Diangana. Where do you rank him? Okay, that's good. Yeah. Okay, Bradley. What do you think? So starting 11 bench squad, or where we're gonna be next season in the championship?
I put just a couple hours ago. I put bench. I think I'd love to give him a shot. There's people I put above him, but he was West Brom's most lethal attribute this season, besides Robson Canu. He's just a wizard with the ball. So I'd say give him a shot on the bench. Sub him out to 60 minutes, get the fresh legs on, or I like.
Yeah, I mean, Ray, what do you think? We'll come back. What do you think?
I think he should be a bench player to start off with, but I would love to see as a front four attacking, Bowen on one side, then going on another side, Anderson in the middle, and then Haller up front. And I'd love to see how that formation would work really well. And I think we've got enough players that you can move different people in and out the squad to make it work. You know, you could move Anderson out and put, someone said earlier, Yarmolenko in there playing just behind the striker. I think he might be able to do bits in there.
Yeah. I think John, what's your take?
Yeah, I like that from Ray. I got to say, my take is if he comes back to the club, he should be competing for a starting place. So he's not guaranteed one, but that should be the goal, right? I mean, if we want him back, that should be the threshold. I don't want to bring him back as a squad player,
Right.
You may as well sell him if he's going to be a squad player.
Right,
We need
absolutely.
players that are competing for the first team.
When he played for us, when he made the few appearances he made for West Ham, I wasn't all that impressed with him. However, from what I can tell, from everything I've seen, everybody's talked about, his time at West Brom has done him a lot of good.
Mm.
Let's not forget, all right, that is that is a club that will be a Premier League club next season, if and when the season starts or whatever happens. West Brom and Leeds. I mean, they're almost sure things to come up at this point. So, he's already playing at a high level. It's not like he's playing for some mid-table championship clubs. He's playing at a high level. And I mean, we're already looking at strengthening the team by going to the championship, right? We got Bowen. We've looked at a lot of other players at that level. I mean, why shouldn't he be part of it? If he comes in and does for us what he was doing for West Brom, I think he absolutely competes for the first 11.
Yeah.
Competes for it. I don't know if he breaks it immediately, but I'm with you, John. I'm with all of you. I think he absolutely competes for it. I think this is maybe one of those cases where, we sent a guy off on loan and it actually did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a real problem now. He's got a real problem. He's got Anderson and he's got Bowen and he's got Antonio. And that's his main competition. So that's a good problem to have for us as a club. But, if he's not going to meet that standard, then, sadly, we've probably got to move him on.
We have an abundance of wingers. And I wish we could be as strong anywhere else as we are on the wing on both sides.
We also always have a failed number 10, Lanzini, and then Wilshere, and then Samir Nasri. Like we've always this hot shot number 10 that always fails or get bullied around too easily or always injury prone. So that what's his name? I can't even remember who was our Pellegrini's always his 4-2-3-1 never worked out because he had never had a satisfactory number 10 doing what he could do.
Right.
And I think that's a race point too, though. Like trying to play Anderson in that middle slot, I'd love to see that.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I would too. I think he could really thrive there. I think he could be a much more useful player there than he ever has been on the wing. He can score goals. He can make runs. He can. I think his skill set is more suited to the middle of the pitch than it is to playing out on the wing. Anderson.
I wonder. Just jump in now. I wonder what Yarmolenko and Anderson be like playing together as the striker and the false number 10, because I think they could actually probably swap them roles a little bit throughout the game and confuse the defense left, right,
I think they could too. Yeah, I think they could too. I haven't given up on Yarmolenko the way a lot of people have. I go back to the beginning of the season when he was pretty useful for us. I mean, a lot of people don't like him, and I get that, but I think we have a little bit of selective memory. He was injured for a long time.
Well, his main weakness is tracking back, and if you have him in a striker position, he doesn't have to do that. Like his main weakness on the wing was running back, trying to play that high line and run back with the right back.
Right.
Sucked at, he was too old and too rickety or whatever. But if he's up playing striker, he's not going to have to tail his ass all the way back there. He can just
exactly
fall and get it in the right time with that lethal, left foot of his.
So stick him up front. Yeah, we said that way back at the beginning of the season, and everybody kind of forgot about it. And then he got injured, and he sort of faded from view. But we said that way at the beginning of the season, and I think it's still a possibility if he's healthy again. Let's do one more, and I can't find the one I'm looking for. So maybe I'm not going to do it. Anyway, I wanted to do one on Mark Noble, but I don't see it in here, so we'll just skip it. Let's just do a fun one here where we can reminisce and complain if we want to. After 3 years, have you forgiven Dimitri Payet? John?
That's the fun one?
Yes, that's the fun one. That's the fun one.
Yeah, I mean, I never held a grudge with him. It sounded like it was for family matters. Hugely disappointed because he was, it's the only time in my lifetime that we've had a player that could walk into any team in the world. Yeah. Any team in the world, he could have
legit candidate for the Ballon d'Or. I mean,
absolutely.
Like actual finalist, on the list. Yeah,
absolutely incredible player. Di Canio is probably the closest thing to it in my lifetime of that kind of quality. And even that, you know, I mean, Payet was just something very special. So I didn't hold a grudge against him. I was amazingly disappointed, heartbroken.
It's worse, isn't it?
Our season was
Yeah.
the pits that season anyway, so it was just, you know, making the worst of a bad situation. Just shit all around. Wish he was still here. I'm a scorned lover.
Yeah, this is kind of how I feel. But even though I'm wearing my Arnautovic shirt tonight, because I love this shirt. I don't care. I love this shirt and I'll keep wearing it. And nobody here knows who he is anyway.
Who cares about when you've just been broken by the Arnautovic? So it's like, all right, yeah, that relationship was over. Now I have the new heartbreak.
Yeah, although Arnautovic was not half the player Payet was, but I mean, still same idea. I don't know, Bradley. Do you forgive him? Do you think about him? Everybody thinks about him. He's all over Twitter. Come on, he's all over West Ham Twitter. He's everywhere. Don't pretend we've forgotten about him because he is everywhere, especially now. You know,
I'm the one. I would have taken him back when. What was that? First, I was kind of pissed off. The first season of Pellegrini, he was going to come back, but for more money and for like 22 million or whatever. And I was like, piss off. But then
we gave him £1 million just to come back, like £1 million loyalty bonus.
Last season, though, when they were like, "Oh, he's actually going for like 6 million, and he just wants to get out of his club," I was like, "Yeah, I'll take him. He can play."
Oh, I would have taken him, even though he's chunky. I'd still take him. Yeah.
If it's forgiveness, then that's forgiveness, you know.
Yeah, it makes sense. In that Marseille Uber Eats sponsored shirt, he had the little belly. I like a fat footballer, though. I don't mind that. I don't know. What's your take on our what do we call him? We didn't call him anything. Anyway, what's your take on Payet?
Yeah, I kind of feel like if you looked at Bilic's interview about him, where he was, he went off to France and he had his little head changed, and then he come back and he had issues with the wife and kids, and they said, Bilic said if you to Sullivan, if you give him more money, he'll stay, he'll be happier. So if you know that's the kind of player you've got, so you should have sold him beforehand and said, look, we cash in, or we extend his contract, pay him a bit more money, then cash in at the following season. I think if West Ham lost him at the second season of the transfer and someone come in, and brought him, a lot of West Ham fans would be more understanding than what they are now. Am I heartbroken? No, I wouldn't say I'm heartbroken. Disappointed like John, which I feel like is even harsh than being upset. But yeah, it's over now. He's not going to come back. It's just a shame it ended so badly.
I can't say this for any woman, but I can say it for Dimitri Payet, and it is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. That last season at the Boleyn would have been so different without him, and it wouldn't nearly have been as magical. He was probably a third percentage-wise of why that turned out the way it was.
Yeah.
The way it did.
No, I feel the same way. Listen, we've talked about this. If the story about him, having an affair and his wife saying either you come back to France or it's over. If that's true, then I don't blame him for what he did. I've never blamed him for what he did. If he did it for his family and his kids and to keep his marriage together, he did the right thing. He may not have gone about it the right way, but he did the right thing. I wish he hadn't walked out the way he did. I wish he'd been a little more, nuanced about it as opposed to just sort of, stopping. But if that's what he did, then if that's why he did it, then I don't blame him for it at all. And I would take him back right now. But then I'd take Arnautovic back too. I don't care. I have no pride when it comes to stuff like that. Players don't have loyalty. They do what they think they should do for their careers. They go for the money, or they think they do what they think they should do for their families. We talk to these former players. They talk about it all the time. It doesn't bother me at all that they do that. I mean, what I don't like is the attitudes they have, like when Arnautovic got all stroppy, But guys are going to leave, That's going to happen in your job. It's going to happen in sports. It's going to happen in life. I mean, they're going to take better
why we want. Sorry, Lee, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please go ahead.
It's also why we want players like Anderson to get ahead, right? I mean, this West Ham, we love a ball player. We love somebody that can play with the ball at their feet, that can get fans onto their feet, out of seats, give us something a little bit special to look at. We don't really care if we win most of the time.
See you, Ken.
You know, we're
Yeah.
used to losing, but that little bit of excitement, there's something a bit different, has a bit of class, and just entertaining. I mean, he gave us all of that. And Anderson, he's got all the attributes in his locker. And if
Yes,
he
he
had a
does.
bit more, almost just grit or something about him, you know, like if he had a bit more front to him, he could be a top 50 player in the Premier League easily.
He scored a goal against Southampton. You guys might remember. I think it was Boxing Day or right around Christmas last season. So it would have been Christmas 2018. And I think we had just gone 1-0 down, and he just stormed down the pitch and was like, you know what? I'm scoring now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm going to do. And he was unstoppable. He looked like Maradona. I mean, it was just this like thundering goal. And I remember thinking, why doesn't he do that more often? Like, he has the ability. He can do it. He's got the skill. He just doesn't have the drive, you know?
Confident. He's confident.
Yeah.
I wonder if not having the crowd in the stadium is going to help him because he's not going to have that pressure on him.
Yeah.
I think it might help us. I think it might help West Ham in general. I have this little tiny sneaking suspicion, and I could be totally wrong, of course, that not having the crowd with all the issues with the owners, and which, by the way, totally back the protests, not against that at all, but with all the negativity that swirled around West Ham before the lockdown, which I do not blame the fans for. I blame the owners for it. But with all the negativity, I think not having fans in the ground could actually be better for our players.
I agree with every single game apart from Villa home last game.
I agree. That's the one that kills me. And it's not fair. And I'll say it again. I don't believe in playing without fans. I don't think it's fair. I don't think I'm totally against it. 100% against it. All I'm saying is if it actually happens, I'm not sure it hurts us that much. As you said, John, except Villa, because that game would have rocked and rolled if it had been to stay up. Other than that, though, I mean, it's just been so, and these players, they know, they read social media. They know. They're not stupid. They know. They say they don't know, but they know.
Yeah.
You talk to the guys, we've had Matty Taylor on, we've had Matt Jarvis on here recently. We've had, Jack Collison, and we, talked to Kenny Brown, and I don't know, 5-6 former West Ham players going back Dean Bishop's been great to us, go back however many years. Man, they know everything the fans are saying. They hear the stuff people yell at from the stands. They're there. They're in it. I remember asking a guy one time, a former NFL player I met on a plane, not a guy anybody would have heard of, offensive lineman for 3 or 4 years. And I said, do the players hear what the fans say? Do they care? And he's like, yes, they hear every word. And they care, and it gets to them emotionally, So I think anytime you're in a situation where there's negativity swirling around, it's going to rub off on the players. It has to. So I'm not convinced that an empty ground would be that bad for us. Except, John, as you said, I agree. I think that last match of the season, if it was to stay up, you can't play that without fans in the ground. That's totally unacceptable to me, because that would have been a tremendous atmosphere. But so I just noticed. I just saw that the father of Villa's manager died of COVID today. So, so I know Pep Guardiola's mother already passed away from it, and now Dean Smith's father has died of it. So just want to extend condolences to him. I'm sure there are not many Villa fans watching us, but extend condolences to him and the family. That's really awful. He was 79, lifelong fan apparently of Aston Villa. So, and now his son's manager.
I love it.
Oh, I didn't see. Oh, hey, where'd he come from?
Is that? Oh, yeah. She's my shadow.
I mean, what did you think I was talking about?
I don't know. The audio cut out for a second.
Oh, okay.
I had to let her out. But now
she is so cute, Johnny.
I know. She takes after her dad.
She's beautiful. What's her name?
This is Lady.
Lady.
She's anything but, because she
of
farts,
the morning. Yeah. Oh, she does.
Oh yeah.
Just like her father.
You're my lady.
It's the heaviest laptop you could ever have.
Which song do you want to hear? You got the old Styx song, "Lady." You got the old Kenny Rogers song. You got who was it? "Lady, let me take a look at you now." Who was that? That was that Australian band. I can't think of their name. Anyway, there's a lot of songs named "Lady" we could sing if you guys want to join in. But
I'm okay.
I didn't sense like a lot of enthusiasm. Oh, Rob says Styx. That's okay. You know what? It's a copyright issue, Rob. I can't do it because I'll be sued. Lady Nolan sounds familiar. Does it? I don't know. Does it? Is that a person?
It's my wife, I think. I don't know.
Well,
Baroness.
but I mean, does she have a title? Is it
No.
Lady like a title, or is it not?
I don't know. You might follow my Instagram. Maybe I'll tag her on there as Lady Nolan.
Don't mix her up. Don't mix her up with the dog. Seems like a recipe for trouble. Anyway, it is 20 minutes after 10 here. That means it's like, I don't know, Friday afternoon or something in England, Ray. In New Orleans, like, well, I guess what's the deal in New Orleans, Bradley? Is anything open? Are you able to go out and do stuff, or?
Yeah, first phase we have some. I mean, it's nothing like New Orleans scene is. There's just some restaurants open here and there, so nothing crazy, nothing fun. I haven't been to the French Quarter because it's probably all shut up. But some of the
do you live in the city?
Yeah, I live in near the Garden District. Up in
Beautiful! That's wonderful.
3 miles off the parade route, St. Charles Parade Route. So it's
excellent.
Fun. Yeah,
I took my first honeymoon in New Orleans, the one with my ex-wife, not my current wife, but my ex-wife and I did our honeymoon in New Orleans. And then I've been down there a few times. It's awesome. My in-laws actually met there. My wife's parents actually met in New Orleans. It's one of my favorite cities. I love it.
Yeah, Wally World on Twitter. In our, he's come down and he's got a place here. So I've hung out with him at the bar when it was open at Finn McCool's, and I've seen some other people from the network that have come down and we've hung out. So it's been great.
Nice. And I'll also acknowledge that John lives in Philadelphia. So we'll just leave it at that. No, I've had some fun in Philadelphia too. Although I got lost there one time, way back in the 90s. I didn't have a GPS. I thought I was going to die. It was terrifying. Couldn't get out of the city. We ended up in Camden, New Jersey.
Oh, that's even worse.
That was rough, man. That was rough. Listen, Dallas is pretty bad, but that was rough.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be called Philadelphia, so the reasons.
Yeah, I get it. Well, city of brotherly love. Anyway, yeah, those Segway Hurricanes in New Orleans. Yeah, that's when you go to New Orleans, and the first thing you do is hit the Hurricane stand and get one about this big. Anyway, that's how one of my nights started in New Orleans years ago. So how it finished is anybody's guess, but it started really well. Anyway, it's about 20 minutes after. I should let you guys go. But anybody want to jump in and say anything before we leave?
No, just good to meet you. Good to meet you, Ray. Good to see you again, John. Good to meet you, Lee. It was real fun. Thanks for inviting me on. And thanks for all the people in the, I know Gary Perridge and Wally and some other people. Great attendance tonight. So your comments I was reading the whole time, we didn't address everybody, but they're real funny.
Yeah.
Great
The
stuff.
chat room goes way too fast for me. I can't keep up with it.
Gotta make Bradley a host. That's what I have to say. Let's get him on here. Let's get him back.
Bradley's awesome.
Always
Yeah.
good stuff, Brad.
The only reason I'm a host is because Tim and I started the channel. There's no other reason for me to be a host, except that I knew it before everybody else did. I don't know. What about you, Ray? Anything? Any parting wisdom?
Oh, definitely not any parting wisdom. But just watch out for my show next week. We're going to be talking about Universal, maybe West Ham University.
Oh, nice. So
as a little topic, which I'll talk to you guys off air back because I need to pick your brains.
All right. Okay. Cool. Well, we're gonna go into a private post-show conference. But in the meantime, I don't know when our next show is because I never do. I never know what's tomorrow. Is it tomorrow?
Yeah, it's the girls.
Oh, that's right. You guys have got to watch this. All right. It's Katie from Philly, and it's Rebecca, Specky Becky from Twitter, and they're really good. They're really, really good. And I think is it 8:00 Eastern? Is that right?
I believe so. Yeah.
I think that's right. Anyway, check. We'll put it on Twitter, but you really should watch. They're great. Katie was like runner up in the Friday Night Lights show. And Rebecca's fantastic. She's a lifelong West Ham fan. She's actually in England, which we love people in England. So, yeah, you guys should definitely watch that. Anyway, as for tonight, thanks for showing up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for putting up with us. And come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
Go on, your hands.